Hey, Dark Voices fans, buckle up for a wild ride. A billionaire playboy, a dying father's wish, and a marriage neither of them wanted. Can they survive a year together, or will it all crash and burn? Let's dive in. Aldrich groaned. Harder, moaned the girl beneath him. Beg, he halted his movements. Lion. Oh, Lion, please go faster. She whimpered. Her eyes rolled back, her toes curled, and she reached her peak. Moments later, he came to. It was their third round. Aldrich collapsed onto the bed, his chest heaving, his heart pounded from the high, his blood racing like wildfire through his veins. The girl beside him leaned in, kissing down his neck and running her fingers across his chest. Want another round, baby? He didn't know her name. He never did. Wait, Dark Voices crew, what's Aldrich hiding behind his reckless lifestyle? Keep listening to uncover the shocking truth. Every night was the same. He'd hit a club, pick someone up, take her back to a hotel, and forget everything the next morning. These women knew who he was and what they wanted. He gave it to them, then silenced them with money. This was his youth, and he was living it to the fullest. He knew one thing for sure. With money came everything. What do you think, Aldrich? The girl asked, voice low and sultry. He grabbed her hips and flipped their positions. Lion, I like when they call me that during sex. He reached for another condom, ready for round 4, until his phone rang, pulling him out of the moment. Let it ring, she whispered, trying to stop him. He brushed her hand away and grabbed his phone. He wasn't some average man. He was the richest man in the world. Every call could mean millions. He never ignored one, but when he saw the name flashing on the screen, he immediately regretted answering. The call ended. He exhaled. Then the phone rang again. His father, always the one to ruin his fun. What is it, Dad? He snapped. I want you home in 15 minutes. His father barked. What now? I'm busy. I know exactly how you're spending your time. Get home now or I'll make sure you're never able to do what you're doing again. Came the threat followed by a click. Aldrich groaned. He liked his penis exactly where it was. So he stood up. Lion, what happened? The girl asked. His father happened. There's urgent work. I need to go. He dressed, collecting clothes from around the room. When will I see you again? She asked. He glanced at her once, head to toe. Never. He threw cash at her and walked out. The drive to his mansion was quick. Funny how the world bowed to him, but one man, the man who raised him, could still pull his strings. He was the only child, the sole heir. After returning from abroad, his father had transferred 60% of the business to him. Aldrich had tripled it. He was the richest man alive, but he wanted more. He always wanted more. He entered the estate and went straight to his father's room. The old man paced, waiting. The moment Aldrich walked in, his father's eyes landed on him like a blade. Going to just stare at me or Aldrich started. Don't move a step, his father warned, stepping closer. What is it? I have news. Then spit it out. Your wedding is next week. Aldrich blinked. What? I'm serious. You can't be. I've already given my word. To who? Frederick. You're marrying his daughter. The words hit like a truck. You can't make a decision like that without me. Oh, I can. I'm your father. Or did you forget that when I handed over most of my company without asking for your input? I'm 28. Just because I'm under your roof doesn't mean you get to ruin my life. I'm not ready for marriage. I'm tired of cleaning up your messes today. The media caught you with another girl again. It nearly went viral. I had to bury it. And I'm done. You're marrying Sia. Miss Siana Gomez. That nerd. Her name alone made Aldrich's nose wrinkle. She's beneath me. She dresses like she time traveled from the early 2000s. You want her to be my wife? You were childhood friends. His father said. That was years ago. She's a nobody now. I've already promised her father. He's dying. He asked me to take care of her like my own. This is how I honor that. You'd ruin my life to fulfill a favor. She'll change you. Give you something you don't have. What? A fashion sense? A heart? Aldrich scoffed. I don't want to be changed. I'm fine as I am. Well, I'm not. You're on a path to destruction. Because I'm not playing house like you. You and Mom didn't exactly teach me love. You were too busy building an empire. That struck home. His father went silent. After a beat, he spoke again. You'll regret not marrying her. I'm in love with someone else. Who? Dalia. His father narrowed his eyes. The same Dalia you cheat on daily with random women. That's not love. You wouldn't understand because you don't understand love. Silence fell again. Then his father said, fine, one solution. What? Contract marriage, 1 year. If you're still incompatible, walk away. Aldrich froze. But treat her right. His father added. If I see otherwise, I'll donate the rest of the business to charity. Your choice. 1 year contract marriage or lose everything. He patted Aldrich's shoulder and left the room. Now Aldrich stood alone, torn. Marry the broke nerd or lose his empire? What the hell was he supposed to do? Dark Voices listeners, can Aldrich escape this trap, or is he doomed to lose it all? Stay tuned. I'm not going to marry him, Dad, Siana said firmly. There was no way she could marry that man. A ruthless, arrogant, cold-hearted, egotistical, self-obsessed narcissist. But why, Sia? Her father asked gently, his voice laced with hurt. Because she stopped herself. I just don't like him, Dad. Her father's eyes softened, clinging to hope. But you two used to be best friends. You wanted to spend every second together. Don't you remember how hard it was to separate you? She did remember. They were just kids. She was 10. He was 14. Everything changed when he left the country to study abroad. Back then, they didn't understand much beyond games and childhood fantasies. Now they were adults, total opposites. As kids, they used to play pretend, acting like a couple in their little made-up world. He was protective, even possessive. No other boys were allowed near her. He shielded her from everything, kept her wrapped in his world like she was something precious. But he left, and when he came back, he wasn't Richie anymore. He was Aldrich Lionol, the son of the world's richest man and now the man who owned that title himself. Rich in name, richer in ego, and far from the boy she once knew. He loved being called Lion, feeding off the power stitched into his very name. The boy who once guarded her heart had become the man who couldn't care less if someone bled in front of him. Emotionless, detached, obsessively ambitious. Siana had joined his father's company a year ago after years of working odd jobs, like being a librarian to cover her tuition and her father's hospital bills. Her first encounter with Aldrich had been anything but warm. She'd spilled hot coffee on herself after bumping into him outside the office. Her skin burned, but he didn't flinch. He checked his designer suit, looked at her like she was the problem, and walked away without a word. No apology, no concern. That was the moment she realized. He didn't remember her, or worse, he didn't care. He was the kind of man who used people as ladders, climbed over them, and crushed them on his way to the top. In his world, only the rich had the right to exist. Everyone else was disposable. She hated that and she hated him. Sia, are you even listening to me? Her father asked, shaking her gently from her thoughts. Oh, sorry. I got distracted. Even hearing Aldrich's name ignited something inside her. Rage, frustration, helplessness. It was like fire surging through her veins. I know you two are opposites, her father said, trying to coax her. But opposites attract, remember? No, Dad. I'm sorry, but I can't marry him. This is a matter of life, of sanity. We don't even like each other. How are we supposed to live together? What's the big deal? He smiled faintly. Not every marriage starts with love. Your mother and I barely knew each other before we got married. But we grew into love after she passed. I've never been the same. My heart never recovered. His eyes shimmered with held-back tears. Dad! Her own eyes filled. She hated when he talked like that. Like goodbye was around the corner. Sia, you need to accept it. I don't have much time left. The doctors say I have 6 months. She opened her mouth to protest, but he raised his hand to silence her. Pretending everything's fine won't change reality, he said. Every night I sleep, wondering if I'll wake up again. I'm living on borrowed time. He tried to sit up. She helped him lie back down and held his hand between hers. You're my only child, my everything, he whispered. How can I leave you alone? You get sick so easily. Who'll take care of you after I'm gone? I want you to settle down, to be loved. I won't get to play with my grandkids, but at least let me see you smile before I leave. He blinked back tears, forcing a smile. But Dad, what if I don't get that kind of happiness with him? I believe you will, he said. How? Siana, he's the richest man in the world. He can give you anything. You'll have every comfort. No more struggles. That's exactly the problem, she snapped, emotion rising in her chest. I don't want a man who buys love with money. I want someone who feels it. Aldrich only cares about his empire. He's incapable of love. Her father shook his head. You've misunderstood him. He's not as cold as he pretends to be. There's more to him. You just have to find it. When she didn't respond, he tightened his grip on her hand. There's no better suitor for you, Sia. Not in this world. Not for my daughter. He paused, voice cracking. Will you deny your father's last wish? Her chin trembled, her eyes blurred. He was all she had left. Her mother was gone. Soon he would be too. The thought of facing the world alone broke her from the inside. I can't leave you alone, he said, reading her silence. But I'm dying. That's the truth. And I need to know you're going to be okay. You'll be okay, Dad. You will, she said, barely holding back her sobs. Even if I die here, at least come visit me after you marry. He smiled through the pain. I'll wait for you. I can't, she said, voice cracking, eyes cast downward. This is all I ask, Sia. Please, marry Aldrich. I know you two are different, but I believe in you both. I believe he paused, voice heavy with emotion, made for each other. Dad, please, please, Sia, he whispered, almost begging. And now she stood at the edge of an impossible choice. She didn't want to marry that cold, selfish man. But she also didn't have the heart to say no to her father's final wish. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Lily shrieked, practically bouncing off the walls. You're going to marry Aldrich Lionol, the world's most eligible bachelor. Siana winced. Her best friend had been spinning in circles of excitement ever since she'd shared the news. I'm not marrying him by choice, Lily, Siana said, deadpan. My father is emotionally blackmailing me. She'd been repeating the same thing for the past hour, but Lily was too starstruck by the idea of Aldrich to register any of it. See, do you even realize how lucky you are? You're about to touch, taste, and the man every girl dreams of, Lily said, practically swooning. Shut up, Lily, or I'll throw you out of your own damn apartment, Siana growled. Sorry, Lily said quickly, hands raised in surrender. It's just the excitement of your marriage to him. She stopped at Siana's glare. Lily gave her a sheepish smile. They'd been best friends since school, opposite in almost every way, but inseparable. Even now, they told each other everything. No secrets, no filters. "I came here for help," Siana said, frustrated. "You're supposed to give me solutions, not fangirl over my forced marriage." Lily blushed. "Okay, I'm focused now. Tell me again." Siana sighed. "My dad wants me to marry Aldrich Lionol soon, and I can't stand him. The man is the walking definition of entitled. I've tried to reason with my dad, but he won't listen. I don't know how to get out of this." Lily tapped her chin. Let me think." Siana watched her hop off the couch as if struck by genius, only to sit back down without a word. "Seriously? Wait, idea." Lily snapped her fingers. "Your dad can't force you to marry Aldrich if you're already married. So, marry your boyfriend." Siana stared, horrified. "Oh, right." Lily cringed. "You're single. Damn. So, first you'd need to find a guy, then get married. Any real ideas?" "Give me one more minute." Another light bulb moment. "Got it. This will work 200%. Siana raised a brow. "What now?" "Tell your dad you're gay." Siana blinked. "Then what?" "He forces me to marry you instead." She deadpanned. Lily's face twisted in horror. "Oh, hell no. Forget I said that." "Then what's my only option?" Siana asked. Lily hesitated. "Run away." "What?" "Pack your bags and disappear. Get out." "Huh?" "Get the out of my house right now." Siana shouted. Just to remind you, Miss Gomez, this is my apartment," Lily said calmly. "Fine, I'll leave." Siana huffed, already rising to her feet, only for Lily to yank her back down. Okay, calm down," Lily said seriously. Too seriously. "Just listen," Siana crossed her arms, but stayed seated. "Tell him to refuse the marriage." "Wait, what?" "Aldrich," Lily clarified. "Tell him the truth. That you're trapped. That you can't say no to your dad's last wish, but also can't marry him. If he's smart, and he is, he'll turn the proposal down himself, and your dad can't force him." Siana went still, her brain catching up to the idea. It made sense. A small smile tugged at her lips. "That's actually a good idea. But," Lily added, "you're still throwing away the chance of a lifetime." Siana launched herself at her friend, who shrieked and bolted from the couch. She shook her head and pulled out her phone, ready to message Aldrich. But before she could type, her phone pinged. One new message from Aldrich Lionol. "Meet me at 7 p.m. sharp." Aldrich sat behind his desk, deep in thought, when the door to his office swung open without warning. Who the hell dared to enter without knocking? His jaw clenched. Someone was about to be fired. He slammed his palm on the desk, the items on it rattled. "Calm down, my angry bird," came a familiar voice. "It's Peter Addison, your best friend. How many times do I have to tell you not to barge in here like this?" Aldrich snapped. "This isn't a damn amusement park. For me, this is a zoo, and you're the main exhibit, Lion." Peter smirked. Aldrich glared. "What do you want?" "Your money," Peter said with a shrug. "I don't hand out cash to beggars." "Get that out." All right, Peter held up his hands. "Why are you so fired up today?" Aldrich didn't answer. Peter studied him. "You're practically glowing red, sitting on a volcano or what?" "That's none of your business. I'm your best friend. Everything's my business. I don't remember signing a friendship oath." Peter raised a brow. "Okay, fine. Spill." Aldrich sighed, closed his laptop, removed his glasses, and leaned back in his chair. "My dad called me last night. I was at the hotel." "Oh, I know you were at a hotel," Peter interrupted. Let me guess. You didn't finish your third round. Aldrich closed his eyes and inhaled sharply to keep from launching a pen at his face. What? Just trying to lighten the mood. You're an idiot and a pain in the ass. Peter flinched. So serious problem then? Aldrich nodded. He wants me to get married. Peter's jaw dropped. What? To Siana Gomez? Aldrich said, grimacing. Peter looked stunned. Wait, the Siana who works here? Aldrich nodded. Our childhood friend. Another nod. Peter's eyes lit up. Oh my God. I remember how crazy you were about her when we were kids. You didn't let anyone near her. I was a kid. That's ancient history. Aldrich snapped. I don't like her anymore. She's nothing like me. She doesn't even fit. She's beautiful now. You've seen the way guys look at her. I don't care. I'm not marrying a girl who can't offer me more. You know I'm with Dalia and I plan to marry her. Peter's face soured at the name. You know how I feel about Diameter. Aldrich gave him a warning glare. Peter backed off. Fine. Why not just tell your dad you're marrying her? I did. He's not listening. He already promised Siana's dad and now he's threatening to give the rest of the company away if I don't go through with it. Peter blinked. Then let him. You've got Delia. She's loaded. No, Aldrich said flatly. Her family business is crumbling. My father's business is still growing. I can't lose it. I won't. So, you're actually considering marrying someone who's the complete opposite of you? Peter asked, stunned. I'm thinking, Aldrich said, staring out the window. Thinking what? Aldrich didn't answer. He picked up his phone and typed, "Meet me at 7 p.m. sharp." As soon as Siana saw Aldrich's message, she rushed home, got dressed, and headed out. The cab dropped her at the restaurant exactly on time, 7 p.m. sharp. He, however, was nowhere to be seen. 30 minutes later, she was still sitting there alone at the table, killing time by scrolling through social media, wondering how someone so obsessed with power could be so careless with other people's time. The sharp click of polished shoes across marble snapped her out of her thoughts. She looked up and there he was, Aldrich Lionol, walking toward her with slow, deliberate steps, his hands tucked in his pockets like he owned the entire world. And in this place, he practically did. Staff members bowed their heads and greeted him like he was royalty. No one dared make eye contact. No one dared make a mistake. 2 bodyguards trailed behind him like shadows because apparently she was such a threat. It had been years since Siana had seen him this close. And he looked exactly as she remembered. No, worse, better, taller, broader, more commanding. His tailored suit clung perfectly to his muscular frame. That chiseled jaw, those sharp cheekbones, the ever-present arrogance in his eyes. It all made sense why people called him Lion. He was built like a king and carried himself like he feared no one. He walked with purpose straight toward her. She stood as he reached the table, his lip curled slightly, mistaking her movement for submission, for respect. It made her breath hitch, but not from nerves, from rage. He was 30 minutes late. And this was the same man who fired employees for being 5 minutes late to meetings. Siana grabbed her purse without a word and turned to leave. His brows furrowed, but before she could take another step, he reached out and yanked her back by the arm. Where do you think you're going? Huh? His grip tightened. His voice was low but seething with anger. Anger that came from wounded pride. She ripped her arm free and turned to face him, chin high, eyes locked on his. You're 30 minutes late. Watch your tone and stay in your limits. He warned. Who are you to decide my limits? I'm your boss and I can throw you out on the street with a snap of my fingers. You're my boss Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Today's Saturday, and right now you're just some random man who doesn't know how to respect a clock. His jaw flexed. He stepped forward, fists clenched, but then stopped. He took a breath, muttered something under it, and closed his eyes like he was holding back a punch. When he opened them again, they burned like fire. Even Siana had to swallow hard for a moment. "Listen," he said tightly. "I didn't come here to argue. I have more important things to do than waste my time fighting with you. So, let's talk, finish this, and move on." She took a deep breath. The insult stung, indolent, but this conversation mattered more. "Fine," she said, eyes steady. "We've been here 5 minutes, and we've already started fighting. That's enough proof we can't stand each other. So go tell your father this marriage won't work." Her jaw dropped. That had been her plan, to ask him to decline. But before she could say anything, he continued, "And don't worry. I know you're marrying me for the money." He held out his hand. One of his guards immediately placed a blank check in it. "Here, write any amount you want." He forced it into her hand. That was it. Siana lifted the check to eye level, then tore it into shreds. Aldrich blinked, visibly shocked. "Not everyone is hungry for your money, Mr. Lionol. The last thing I want from you is your wealth." "Oh, so it's my face you're after," he sneered. "Well, let me save you the trouble. I'll never marry someone below my standard. I want a wife who brings value." "You're not it. The feeling is mutual." She snapped. "You're not exactly husband material either." "Then tell that to your dad." "I can't." "Why not?" She looked away, voice softening. "It's his last wish. I can't say no." The tension between them shifted for a second. A hint of something fragile passed through her eyes, but Aldrich didn't soften. "Then why not, I say no?" he asked. "Because if you do, your father donates the business to charity, right?" He didn't respond, which said enough. "All you care about is money," she said bitterly. "Money is life. One day you'll realize you're rich in cash, but bankrupt in every other way," she muttered. He scoffed, "Spare me the life lessons. People like you don't get it. You've never tasted success. You don't know what it's like to rule. I attract wealth. I make the world bow. That's power. That obsession. It'll destroy you. Then let it. At least I'm building something. You're just standing in my way." Siana clenched her fists, but kept her voice even. "I came here to find a solution, not to fight." "Same. Then what do we do? We can't say no. And we clearly can't stand each other." Aldrich smirked. "Where there's me, there's always a way." She raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" He leaned in slightly, voice smooth. "We fake it." Her eyes narrowed. "We sign a 1-year contract marriage," he said. Siana's jaw dropped. "We'll marry this Friday in court. Just the 4 of us, our fathers, you and me. We sign the papers, act the part, then go back to living our own lives." She was still processing when he added, "My father will hand over everything to me after a year. Your father will pass in peace, thinking his wish came true. Then we walk away, no strings." His words sank like a weight in her chest. "You say that so casually after your father dies. How can you be so cold?" "I'm being honest." "You're heartless," she said, her voice tight. "After the year ends, we both get what we want," he replied coldly. She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, if that's the only way. I wasn't asking. I was informing you," he said flatly. She turned her head, biting her lip. "But," he added sharply, forcing her to look back, "we pretend to be happy. Publicly, we'll act like the perfect couple. My father can't suspect anything or the deal's off." He leaned forward. "And don't expect anything from me or from this marriage. I don't love you. I never will. Don't catch feelings unless you want a broken heart." Siana stared at him, not flinching. He stared right back. "We're not meant to be together." He finished. "We're those incompatible souls that are, they both said it at the same time, voices matching in bitter unison, not made for each other. And without another word, they turned in opposite directions and walked away. Two strangers headed into the same future with no intention of looking back. "Promise me you'll tell me everything about your first night with that luscious hunk," Lily said, her eyes sparkling as she handed Siana the diamond earrings. "For the 100th time, nothing's going to happen," Siana replied, slipping the earrings on with a sigh. The wedding was meant to be a simple affair, a compromise, nothing more. But Aldrich's father had insisted they at least look presentable. It was, after all, his only son's wedding. While Aldrich managed to convince him to keep the guest list small, the event was anything but low-key. Mr. Edward Lionol had personally selected Siana's gown and jewelry. He'd also booked one of his own hotels for the ceremony, locking it down with tight security to avoid any interference from paparazzi. "So, you're saying it's going to be beyond what I imagined?" Lily teased, batting her lashes. Siana narrowed her eyes. "When was the last time you watched porn?" Lily paused. "Last month. You remember? I forced you to watch it with me. Go watch it again and stop torturing me. What's the point when I've got a real-life romance to witness?" Lily chuckled. "This isn't a romance," Siana muttered. "You know exactly why I'm marrying him." "I do. But I also know what happens when a dangerously hot man and a deceptively sexy girl get locked in a room. Hormones don't sign contracts." Lily winked. "You're impossible." "Undoubtedly," Lily said with a proud toss of her hair. Siana stood and gave herself a final once-over in the mirror. Her dress was simple yet elegant, fitting for a bride caught in a situation she never wanted. "You look killer," Lily said, eyes widening. "He won't be able to keep his hands off." Siana's glare stopped her mid-sentence. "Let's go before your fantasy ruins the actual wedding," Siana said, brushing past her, practicing to be a loyal, obedient wife. "Nice," Lily called out. Ignoring the comment, Siana gathered her dress, Lily's job technically, and exited the room. Two attendants led them to the banquet hall, and even Siana had to admit it was breathtaking. From the floral arrangements to the lighting, everything looked like it belonged in a fairy tale. Mr. Edward Lionol had spared no expense, thinking this was a marriage of love, not the quiet contract it truly was. Still, what lifted her spirits most wasn't the decor. It was the sight of her father. Sitting in a wheelchair near the corner of the hall, his eyes scanned the room, overwhelmed by the beauty around him. She approached, knelt beside him, and took his hand. He placed his trembling fingers on her head with affection. "My princess," he whispered, eyes moist. "Why are you crying?" she asked, concern knitting her brow. "Tears of happiness," he said, blinking fast. "This was my dream to see you married before," he trailed off. "Dad, please." Her throat tightened. He cupped her face, forcing a smile. "Not today. No sadness. You look like a real princess." He kissed her forehead, and she rose to her feet just as the sound of footsteps echoed behind her. Aldrich entered with his father and a small entourage of bodyguards, every step of his sounding like a statement. He wore a sleek check pattern suit that molded perfectly to his tall, broad frame. His expression was unreadable. Chin high, eyes distant, confidence oozing from every pore. "Oh my God, Sia, I'm actually jealous," Lily whispered beside her. "He's hot." "Lily," Siana warned. "I'm just saying, he's a walking thirst trap and full of himself." "What?" "Nothing, but if you keep talking like that, I'm going to show your parents your book collection." That shut Lily up instantly. Mr. Edward Lionol greeted Siana and her father warmly. Aldrich, however, barely spared anyone a glance. His eyes flicked over Siana's dress with a hint of something unreadable, then shifted away. Lily waved at him with an eager smile. He ignored her completely. "Told you." "Hottie," Siana muttered under her breath. "Can we proceed with the formalities?" Aldrich's deep voice cut through the room like a blade. His father chuckled and nodded. "Of course. Someone's eager." Lily teased. Aldrich turned to leave alone until his father stopped him. "Where are you going without your bride?" His jaw tightened. He turned back and extended a stiff hand towards Siana. Formality. That's all it was. She placed her hand in his. His grip was firm, his thumb brushing across her palm as he guided her toward the aisle. Their rings were exchanged in silence. He signed the papers first, handed them to her. They weren't marriage certificates. Not to them. They were terms, a contract. 1 year, no strings attached. Siana hesitated until she looked at her father's glowing face. That was enough. She signed. Applause broke out. It was done until Lily opened her big mouth. "Kiss. Let's see a kiss from the newlyweds." Siana whipped her head toward her friend, ready to kill her. Aldrich looked equally annoyed. He started to decline, but his father chimed in. Yes, why not? Both their fathers were looking at them, full of hope. One little kiss wouldn't hurt, right? Aldrich turned to her with a faint groan in his throat. As he stepped closer, Siana's heart pounded. The scent of his cologne filled the air between them. His left hand wrapped around her waist and pulled her in. Her chest bumped into his. He didn't flinch. His right hand slid behind her head. She stiffened. He dipped her back with one smooth motion, shielding their faces from the audience. Then he kissed her. It was barely more than a brush, his lips landing on the corner of hers, but it was enough to set her nerves on fire. Her heart thundered in her chest. Her eyes fluttered closed. His lips lingered a second too long, and when he pulled back, his face was so close she could see the flecks of gold in his eyes. He whispered against her skin. Remember 1 year, no strings attached. Her lips moved on instinct, repeating the promise back. 1 year, no strings attached. But something inside her felt off, because even if her lips said the words, her heart wasn't so sure. Wedding night after dinner, Edward asked Siana's father if he could take her to their house. Her father agreed and wished her a happy married life, which she knew was impossible when her husband was Mr. Aldrich Lionol. Still, she smiled to please her father. After saying their goodbyes to her father and Lily, they made their way outside. The driver opened the car door, and to her surprise, Aldrich waited for her to enter first. She sat in the corner of the seat, and Aldrich quickly followed with his infamous neutral expression and ice-cold, dark eyes. The journey was silent. Neither of them said anything. Siana took a deep breath and looked out the window as the cold wind hit her face, allowing her hair to move freely. For a split second, she thought Aldrich was staring at her, but when she tilted her head to his side, she found him busy with his phone. She looked straight ahead, dismissing the thought. After a while, the car came to a complete stop. Aldrich stepped out as the driver opened the door for him, and she followed in his footsteps. Siana's jaw dropped and her eyes widened when she saw a massive yet beautiful mansion standing proudly before her. She used to play with Aldrich in his old mansion, but this one was 100 times more magnificent. Her attention was drawn away by the arrival of another vehicle. Aldrich's father emerged from it and approached them. He gave Siana a friendly smile before instructing them to follow him. From what she knew, Edward was very kind, and despite his wealth, remained down to earth, whereas his son was the polar opposite, grumpy and egotistic. Siana was so busy admiring the beauty of the mansion that she failed to notice the step and fell. She tried to grab Aldrich for support, but his large step placed him out of reach. Ah! She yelped sharply, drawing everyone's attention. Sia? Edward rushed toward her while Aldrich stood there unaffected by her pain. Blackheart man. Are you okay? Edward inquired, and she nodded slightly. Siana attempted to stand but failed. She suspected a sprain because she couldn't move her foot. Even the slightest movement caused pain. Aldrich, assist the girl to the room, Edward said. No way, he stated firmly, placing his hands on his waist. Would you like a guard to accompany your wife to your room? Edward asked with a cocked brow. Aldrich let out an agonized sigh before walking over to Siana. Edward stepped back to give him room. He knelt down until his face was level with hers. He didn't need to speak because his eyes already expressed his frustration. "Damsel in distress," he muttered through clenched teeth before lifting her in a bridal carry. Siana wrapped her right arm around his neck and rested her left palm against his chest. The moment her palm pressed above his heart, his body tensed. For a split second, it seemed his gaze softened, but a second later he took a sharp, audible breath, clenched his jaw, and took long authoritative strides into the mansion. They did not blink on the way to the room, but his eyes were fixed straight ahead while hers remained on him. When her backside landed on something very soft, she finally blinked. Aldrich moved away, opened a drawer, and tossed a pain reliever and his phone on the bed before disappearing behind one of the room's doors. Once he left her alone, Siana took in her surroundings. His presence had a hypnotizing effect on her, making her forget the rest of the world. She looked around the room. It was luxurious, sophisticated, intimate, and inviting. From the floor to the ceiling, from the cushions to the curtains, everything screamed money. Taking a deep breath, she reached for the pain relief spray and applied it to her foot, hoping it would ease the pain. After putting the spray down, Siana looked up when the door opened and Aldrich reappeared. Her breath caught in her throat. Her lips parted and her pupils dilated as she took in his features. He took one step forward, and it felt as though the world stopped. His eyes lifted to meet hers, while she followed the trail of water droplets sliding down his bare chest and being absorbed by his warm skin. With every step he took, the temperature in the room seemed to rise in direct contrast to the cold night outside. Her thoughts scolded her for acting like a naive teenager who had never seen such a Greek god physique, chiseled chest, broad shoulders, and bulging biceps. But her eyes refused to look away. He wore nothing but a towel around his torso, water droplets drifting down his body. When his torso hovered in front of her face, she looked up to find him staring down at her with an unreadable expression. She swallowed hard under the heat of his proximity, her mind spinning dizzily. Her breathing grew shallow, causing her chest to rise and fall rapidly. Why does his nearness affect me this way? She wondered. Perhaps because she still sees that sweet and caring 14-year-old Richie in him. A distant part of her mind replied. No, she countered. He bent closer, his gaze piercing hers, pinning her in place. In response, she leaned back slightly, furrowed her brow, and moistened her lips to appear as normal as possible. His eyes flicked downward, lingering on her lips for what felt like an eternity. Following his lead, her gaze fell to his lips as well, and they both watched the other's lips move. A sudden wave of heat rose to Siana's cheeks. She felt her throat constrict and her lungs forget how to breathe. She felt weak under his penetrating, domineering, dark gaze. Emotions tangled inside her. Words too insufficient to describe what she was experiencing, especially since it was all happening for the first time. When their lips finished mirroring each other, they blinked and raised their eyes in unison, meeting at the exact same moment, as if they shared the same thoughts. Aldrich moved forward, closing the gap between them. Siana sat frozen like a statue, her weight on her palms. Unable to move back any further. A droplet of water fell from his hair onto her neck and slid down into her dress, causing her to blink. His gaze followed the path of the drop. He looked at her again, moving even closer. With trepidation, she closed her eyes. She anticipated the moment his skin would brush hers. But after a few seconds, when she felt nothing, her eyes fluttered open. He was still at her level, but his cheek was now against hers, his beard grazing her skin lightly, his breath fanning her ear. His body was all around her, yet not quite touching. She felt him smirk against her cheek before he stood upright, grabbed his phone, and disappeared. "If you're done admiring me and don't want to sleep in that gown, go change," he said in an offhand manner. He is so full of himself, she thought. Siana abruptly stood only to stumble again. He caught her in time, forcing her to stand upright. "Damsel in distress," he repeated before leaving. It was the second time he had called her that, and she didn't appreciate it. Grumper. Mr. Grumper. She inwardly fumed. Carefully, Siana moved her foot forward, slowly picking up a random t-shirt and loose pants. She made her way toward the same door he had just emerged from. Her jaw dropped the moment she entered. The bathroom was unusually spacious, a beautiful blend of luxurious materials and natural light. She hurried to change out of her gown before she embarrassed herself further. As she attempted to unzip her dress, she realized how tight it was. She struggled for